Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Before we get started, I just want to wish a big congratulations. If anybody saw this past Sunday, we were just talking about it in pre-production. Going to shoot it off right out of bat. Our sheriff, Tyler Adele, he's got his own brand new show. It's called The Sunday Sauce. It's about hockey. It's on all the Eastern Observer networks. So we just want to congratulate Tyler. Apparently, this is something that he's been looking forward to for a very long time now. We want to wish him luck. Perfect. Good luck to you. Ice, that's a part of my life, too. That's where I met Tyler in the ice world. So congratulations, pal. Tyler's got his own show back. Welcome, in the meantime, to the Essential Wrestling Podcast.
Who's Tyler?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 88 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast. For I guess if you go through chiming in late, we're trying to do years. We're going back to the WrestleMania thing. So this is our WrestleMania 4 episode, our tournament where Randy Savage goes all the way to win the WWE Championship, WWF Championship, 4 matches in one night. He beat, let's see if we can rattle them off. It was Butch Reed, then it was Greg Valentine. One Man Gang, love hearing that name. And then he defeated Ted DiBiase after a chair shot from Hulk Hogan at the end that Jesse Ventura was not too happy about. We are always powered by the Eastern Observer. You can taste the power. Please make sure you go to the Eastern Observer on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like all of our stuff. We truly appreciate it. And make sure you comment in. For those of you who commented, I know Travis Severance and Hector Melendez tried to chime in on my Facebook page last week. I didn't see it, so I'm going to do a better job being on my phone during the show so I can see comments that I won't be able to see on air. And thank you for all the people that are listening on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, and our new platform in Odyssey. Thank you so much for watching us. With us, as always, on the bottom part of our screen, the first ever PWP champion and the living legend, John DeConnie. And guess I'm going to have to start to be adding the first ever Eastern Observer Central Wrestling Podcast, Suicide Playoff Eliminator Football, whatever the hell we're doing, champion as well. John DeConnie, you won the whole thing. We'll get to that at the end as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I guess we're going to go through, because I wound up tied with Ian, we're going to try and go through the playoffs with it. So it's going to be interesting to see, making a pick that you think is going to be around to the Super Bowl so that you don't run out of people to be able to pick. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do there, but regular season, woohoo!
There you go. We'll get to all the stats and numbers. And you, John DeConnie, you were on the primetime rundown this last Friday night, along with the man to, I guess, your left on the screen, the right, John Smith. John, John DeConnie and I and Gary last week, we kind of came to a little bit of an epiphany, I guess, right? It was close to January 6th, which is the date of the epiphany. You had Johnny playing football. Now you have Johnny doing amateur wrestling. So what's the over-under here on when he signs his NXT contract?
I'm looking at maybe 16 years, 3 months.
16 years, okay. I'm going to go the under on that. I believe in Johnny. He'll get there quicker.
No, I mean, Johnny, he's 16 years old in 3 months, not
okay.
16 years from now.
Yeah, okay.
So that only puts us at about 4 years from now. But if you're going to give John all these accolades every time, you're going to have to announce me first. Because it just makes me look like complete dog shit when you give him all these accolades, and then it's like, and then there's Michael Maida's cousin, John Smith.
That's probably the best. That's something you can't take away from you, John. You're Mike Maida's cousin. John DeConnie will never have that honor. And up on the top part of our screen, returning from his hiatus. I'm sorry, what was that, John DeConnie?
Just think about how I feel when we had to hear every week how you're Mike Maida's cousin. I mean, I feel like a big dog shit. Come on.
And up on the top of the screen, Ryan Joy, welcome back from minutesofbelltime.com. And the owner, minutesofbelltime.com, Ryan Joy, excuse me, you had a lot of obligations the last 3 weeks. How was your birthday? How was actually today's John Nicani's birthday too, right? Oh my god, I completely just brain farted on that. John, happy birthday, pal.
Thank you.
January is jam-packed. We had Ryan and Gary and Maggie May last week. We have John Nicani today. Ryan, we hope you made Maggie May's night very special last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Great. All right.
I'll tell you more
on
after.
To today's episode. We have a new NXT champion. We have new Raw Tag Team champions. We had a Tag Team Championship street fight on SmackDown. Gary Mehaffy is with us. As always, he will join us and talk about the NXT UK Women's Championship match. Not a championship matches last week. Like I said, Ryan Joy is back. He's here now on with us. We make our picks for this week's upcoming shows, presented by Minutes to Bell Time and sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, she'll like it too. Last week, we're going to main event the show with a new TBS champion as well as a new TNT champion, which I kind of want to talk about. I don't get it, but we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. That'll be the main event of our show. Last week, I know John Smith and Ryan, they were both out, but they both are very much well aware of this. Did I even get this up here? Where is it? Oh, we started the Raw roll-up competition. Give me 2 seconds to get this up there. I deleted it last week. I got to put it back on. Last week, so we're going to track all of the Raw roll-ups throughout the calendar year. Last week, we only had one show going into... Oh my God, there it is last week. We only had one show going into the new year. That was the January 3rd edition of Raw. So Raw took an early lead only because the only one, and Zelina Vega strikes first. She rolled up Nikki Cross. We're going to be going throughout the entire show. We'll check them off as we go along, and we'll see where the standings are at the end. But we're going to curtain jerk the show with Impact Hard to Kill, and apparently an historic main event. I guess this is the first of the big four that the women have main evented. I saw articles, they made history. They didn't really go into any explanation how or why. But the main event was the Texas Death Match that made headlines the night before on SmackDown, announcing Impact's Mickie James entering the Royal Rumble. But we didn't know if she would actually be entering it as the Impact's Knockouts champion. And we will cross that bridge when we get there. But Ryan Joy, before you get into this match and break down this match and whatnot, I have to give a big shout out to the Impact Wrestling production team. Their cameraman, when Mickie and Deonna were fighting on the ramp, the cameraman right up close in there, the guy on the control panel in the truck, he wouldn't get the camera off when they were going in close on. It was a very beautiful sight. I enjoyed that. As well as the people I was watching with. I was watching people who are not wrestling fans are like, wow, they're really centered in on her hoo-ha. And I'm like, yeah, it's there. Ryan, go for the match. Go for it.
Thank you. Like you mentioned, it was a Texas death match, and I've seen many Texas death matches at this point, and it feels like they always have a slightly different version of the rules. So the rule book that we took out for this match was you had to get a pin or a submission, and then basically had to win a last man standing match. So you had to pin your opponent, and then your opponent could not stand up for a 10 count. So throughout the course of this match, Deonna Purrazzo got 4 falls, including a really early submission fall over Mickie James, which I think was strategic, right? Mickie tapped out quickly so she didn't have her arm torn off. But Deonna got 4 falls. Mickie only got 2, but she got the one that mattered the most. It was a Mick DDT into a pile of thumbtacks that led to the pin and the win. So even though Deonna lost here, so Mickie gets to go. She made her headlines. I know we're going to talk about that later. Mickie takes that Knockouts championship, and she's going to do her world tour with that. Deonna is still the AAA champion, and she also had Roxy sitting on the sidelines watching the match because she is going to be facing Roxy this week for the Ring of Honor Championship, and I do believe it's actually title for title. So it's the Reines Championship versus the Ring of Honor World Champion, winner take all.
Wow. All right. I didn't know the Reines the
AAA Championship.
AAA Women's Championship. My Spanish is those people keep those. So Brian Joy, they said Ring of Honor. It's an independent company, quote unquote. I know they've been around forever. I really don't want to put that tag on it, but it's a company that you cover and you're our senior correspondent on. Who do you got in this?
So here's the deal with Roxy. Roxy's been on AEW Dark. Roxy had an NXT tryout. I think Roxy is going to drop that Ring of Honor title to Deonna Purrazzo this Thursday.
All right. John Smith.
Yeah, give me the Jersey girl.
Yeah, I'm not going against Deonna. Not when Mexico was on the line, John McConney.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that would be good, and that would put that belt on TV a lot more. I shouldn't say that because Ring of Honor's gonna be freaking everywhere. We'll get into that.
But I think you're right that like Deonna as the champion is kind of a good for that belt.
Yeah, and she's an alumnus. She's competed in Ring of Honor before, so she's no stranger to that. I don't think there was a women's. I think they tried to do the Women's of Honor, if I remember correctly. They tried to call it, but now it's just the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. So
yeah, they had Women of Honor for like three years or so.
Yeah. John DeConnie, like I said, the women main event at the match before that, what we thought was going to be in the main event, the triple threat match. This was Moose's first title defense ever. That's not including the TNA championship that he walked around with because there was no TNA championship committee this whole entire time.
Yeah, so this was him finally walking the aisle as the champ with the unified title and defending it with W. Morrissey and Matt Cardona on the other side of the ring from him. And as you might imagine, this was a lot of big man violence. The ref took a bump and was out for a while. Chelsea got involved. Second ref wound up taking a bump when Moose countered radio silence by buckle bomb. Well, not really buckle bombing because he didn't make it to the buckle. He corner bombed Cardona into the corner, taking out the second ref and squishing Chelsea. And as Cardona kind of wobbled and made it back to his feet after that, he was in perfect position for a lights out spear and a 1-2-3 and a Moose retention.
Real quick, John Smith, just to let you know, I just put on my Facebook page just because I promised everyone I try to be better in touch with the comments. Mike Maida has been watching this entire time, apparently. So, Mike Maida, how you doing?
Yeah,
is that John Smith's cousin?
That son of a bitch doesn't ever call me back, though. I called him last night. He lets it go to voicemail. Then he texts me like right away. Oh, I'm just saying goodbye to my mom. I'll call you right back. I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah. Brian, like I said, Ring of Honor was all over the place. It wasn't just Roxy, but we actually did have a schedule. This was scheduled a Ring of Honor championship match with Jonathan Gresham against another Ring of Honor alumnus, Chris Sabin. What John DeConnie and I talked about last week, there was absolutely zero reason to take the belt off of Gresham after he just won it in that title, the last main event of that last Ring of Honor show. But it was just like, this is just a showcase. This is going to be good wrestling. And what did you think?
Yeah, I like the fact that they had Ian Riccaboni doing commentary. They had Bobby Cruz doing the introductions. So it gave it that nice like Ring of Honor feel. They made it pure rules, which even more layered on the Ring of Honor stuff. And it suits Gresham really well. It actually suits Sabin really well because of the styles that they compete on. Gresham won, like you said. I think that's pretty much what everybody expected. Great match. Gresham got the win with a bridge. So, it's kind of that traditional pre-rules match where you never know when the pin's going to come, and it came when they were reversing bridges and things like that, and there it was.
Yes. If I do remember correctly, La Mahi Sharkredo, although probably one of the more complicated and technically savvy versions of a roll-up, it still is a roll-up. And we have our first one of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Godwin Grossman, the guy that we haven't even talked about. He scores on the scoreboard for Impact Wrestling. Tasha Steelz made history as well. She won the number one contenders, the first ever female Ultimate X match by pulling the X away from Chelsea Green at the end and falling to the mat. I did not know that was a rule because they said when they took it off the chain, like, okay, now you have to fall to the ground. I never realized that was an actual rule unless they just put that in for this match.
I think it is,
but it isn't. Because the last time they did Ultimate X, it was involving Josh Alexander and the X Division title, like it usually does. And at that time, they rang the bell as soon as he pulled the belt. It wasn't the X, obviously. It was the championship belt. And they talked about it. You have to possess the belt, or in Tasha's case, the X, and fall to the mat. And then the match went on, and Josh got the belt down, and they rang the bell. Well, the refs are telling me now he didn't have to fall to the mat. He just had to pull it down. So it basically is whatever suits them as to how they want to end the match.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, in this case, Tasha and who was it? Chelsea Green,
yeah.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah. They were sharing possession, so there was no possession. So I'll give them that.
And that is 9/10 of the law, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah. And Tasha has it.
Ryan, we had Hardcore War. Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, Willie Mack, Heath, and Rhino against the Good Brothers and Violent by Design. Crazy match. Again, it was like kind of like a War Games type setting where the one team had the advantage and every X amount of minutes another guy would come out from the team.
That's exactly how I was going to describe it. If you don't know what a Hardcore War was, it is essentially a War Games match without the cage.
Yeah.
Diener and Swann led things off. A new person came in every 90 seconds until everybody was in. And I think, as pretty much everybody probably expected, this match ended with a gore, right? Rhino gored Karl Anderson, allowing Heath to get the pin. Glory hog. The good guys are celebrating everything. They just got through Hardcore War Games, or whatever it is. But Ring of Honor will not be showing up on this show. We have Roxy standing ringside at the main event. We have the Ring of Honor World Championship match. And here you have Mike Bennett and Matt Taven and PCO, and the guy that Matt Taven's been in a blood feud with for the last 3 years, Vincent, all coming out with Maria Kanellis attacking the good guys after the match. So we are having a Ring of Honor invasion storyline in Impact Wrestling. So fun. I think this was a storyline that was right there for anybody to take, because all of these ROH people are free agents. So any company could have done this, and Impact, to their credit, they did. So good for them.
I just saw this now. First things first, for those of you, Vincent, there is another Vincent in professional wrestling. This is not Virgil from WCW. Virgil, when he went to WCW, was also named Vincent. This is not him. Virgil's not back all of a sudden.
It's not McMahon either.
No, it's not Vince McMahon either. I don't know. It just dawned on me. Rohit Raju versus Dalton Castle, please. Scott D'Amore, thank you. Josh Alexander defeated Jonah after an ankle lock. That was a hard-hitting battle. Trey Miguel, actually, this one shocked pretty much all of us. Trey Miguel, he defeated Steve Macklin to retain the X Division Championship after the meatiest of all auras for the 1, 2, 3. So here are our standings for Impact.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to put up the Hard to Kill graphic. Ryan Joy back on top with a 5-point lead on John DeConnie. They all got a 4-point lead on me, 10 points on John Smith. So this is probably the tightest race that we have in all these standings. So let's see. It'll be fun going forward from there. We'll go through the rest of the standings after we go through our next segment of NXT's New Year's Evil. John Smith, changing of the guard. It's official.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that most people thought was going to happen, at Halloween Havoc a couple months ago. And I still held out my hopes for Tommaso Ciampa and Team 1.0, and he got the job done last time. He had his war paint. But you could tell just from the way this match looked from the start that Breakker wasn't coming out of this without the title. They had a nice standard match. I wouldn't say there was anything great about it, but we got to see Breaker win with a Steiner recliner, which is a cool homage to his family. We got a nice Alabama slam through the announcer's table on Ciampa also. That was pretty cool. He didn't botch anything. He didn't slip off the second rope Breaker. And, he can work a match. I just don't understand why he's the guy that they chose.
He actually goes with the Steiner recliner. Before that, he hit that leaping bulldog off the middle turnbuckle, which was Rick, his father's finishing maneuver. And I want to say it was a maneuver that actually half paralyzed Buck Bagwell way back in the day. He did an homage with his father, an homage to his uncle. The big bad booty nephew is now the 19th ever NXT champion. Any predictions on number 20 real quick, Ryan Joy?
Well, I was going to say that he is the 19th champion in his 9th career match, by the way.
That is impressive.
That is impressive. Of course, he had a title shot in his third or something. So that's
I think Big Show, when he was the Giant, got a few. He's got the record with his first match on his first day of work.
Yeah. I think how many matches it took Goldberg to get there. The next champion, you don't think that maybe they'll retire the championship with him? I don't see anybody in the foreseeable future.
I would have to go with Von Wagner.
That would be a good one.
Maybe.
John McConney?
Yeah, Wagner was going to be my guess. I mean, I guess I could see Waller up there at that level too, since they're putting a lot of effort into him as well. So,
okay.
And as for James Wheeler's comment, the rumor going around right now is that there are new belts being designed. Looking forward to WrestleMania season for them being unveiled.
I figured Breaker would just do what is only NWO style, but get like a neon green, like a neon orange point, and then a neon yellow O, on over the. Okay,
dig it.
But John Nagani, speaking of titles, as we talked last week at length, we actually went through the entire New Age Cruiserweight Championship history, and we have our final champion.
Indeed. Carmelo Hayes, the North American champion, faced Roderick Strong, the final Cruiserweight champion, the final solely Cruiserweight champion, in a title unification match. And these two went for almost 16 minutes. I mean, we know Roddy Strong is a technician. Carmelo Hayes can really go. So there was plenty of good stuff. Roddy trying to stretch him, Carmelo flipping and flying all over. And it ended with the diving top rope, leg lariat, leg drop, whatever you want to call it. It's the Sicilian slice and a 1, 2, 3. And your new Cruiserweight North American champion, Carmelo Hayes.
Yes, I have Sicilian slice on my notes. All right, Guido. All right. I figured D'Angelo would do that anyway. Also on the card, Mandy Rose, she retained the NXT Women's Championship by defeating Cora Gane and Raquel Gonzalez. Chalk went up for NXT. Roll up on Cora Jade by Mandy Rose. Good job. Andre Chase, I was dying during this. Andre Chase gave out his first ever scholarship. Oh, this is getting better and better every week with him. For the student that risked his life for Andre, but then here comes Von Wagner to ruin the celebration. Von ended up attacking Chase and then some of the students in the student section. So, should we continue with that? And Joe Gacy and Harlan, we got to bring up bracket time to bring out those brackets. I think we're going to find them out tonight. The Dusty Cup is back. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is back. Joe Gacy and Harlan may want to enter the tournament, but since they are a new tag team, they want to earn their way in. So maybe look for them to have an in-action match at some point tonight to get into those brackets that they're going to announce. The Creed brothers have also entered the Dusty Cup and told MSK in the parking lot after their match with Riddle, we'll get into that in a second, after they bid them adieu. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, they made New Year's resolutions to become tag team champions as they were telling this to Amari Miller. The conversation was overheard by Indy Hartwell and Persia Parati, who think they will be the next tag team champions. So a match was proposed. Tiffany Stratton was she wasn't eavesdropping. She was just around the corner. She turned down the offer to be Indy and Persia's partner, and then she called her daddy to complain that NXT is just ew. But they found somebody sleeping named Wendy Cho, and they woke her up, and they're going to be their partner. Unfortunately, Wendy's not pictured here. I guess she slept through the photo shoot for WWE.com. But Ryan Joy, who do you have in this match?
Just if this is not understood, Wendy Chu is Mei Yang.
I didn't want to be racist.
Well, it's not racist. It's a fact.
I know, but I just didn't want to assume that one Asian American is playing two different characters. Like I always thought that Oscar was played by two different characters, like the Olsen twins. There was two, but apparently I was wrong with that too. So.
Now I don't know what you're talking about. I'll take Indy Hartwell's team.
John DeConnie.
And give me Indy, Persia, and Wendy.
All right, John Smith.
I'm gonna go with the faces on this one, just because they've been giving them a lot of vignettes with them clubbing and getting all rolling face on ecstasy and shit.
Yeah, I got them as well. Like I said, I'll just make this abundantly clear right now. There's my pick. If they're having a women's tournament, I'm going with Casey and Kaden. And I think it was this time last year. I think they shined. They upset somebody in the first round, and Casey did that oh my God move off the top rope. I still don't know what they call that, but
the 450 shooting star press flip.
Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. Pete Dunne is pretty pissed off that Tony Bishkinish, that's going to be his new name, when Tony D'Angelo broke his hand. So they're going to go back at it. They had the best opportunity in the world for a pole match. We'll get to that one next, but they decided to give it to this one for the crowbar on a pole match between Pete Dunne and Tony Bishkinish. John Smith, who do you got?
Well, it seems that they're just pushing all the new people for now, so give me Tony D in this one.
He's going to beat Pete Dunne? John?
Yeah, I don't think Petey Poppins gets it done here. So give me Tony D.
Ryan Joy.
Yeah, Pete Dunne got a win on WWE main event this week. So did Tommaso Ciampa, but I don't think he's gonna be able to get it done at NXT 2.0. He's gonna take a crowbar to the head.
Okay, so with Ryan, I know you're kind of like our version of an insider here. Are Ciampa and Dunne, are they getting called up? Because after Ciampa lost, he put something very cryptic on social media with him, it was like a black and white walking away from the ring saying thank you. And that was the only caption.
But I know they were backstage, both of them, I think, backstage at SmackDown, and they worked the Raw Dark matches, which will air on main event this week. I don't know if we can take that as a read that they're definitely going to get called up, or if it's more of a tryout match. They've definitely had people work main event before and not called them up, but it seems likely.
Yeah, this is gonna be we got Zion Quinn, Zion Williams, right? That was a basketball slip up. Williamson, right? Zion Quinn and Santos Escobar. Alessia Lopez laid it all on the line. She's gonna go with the winner. They could have put her on the pole, but decided to go with the crowbar in the prior match. Can we break out the forklift?
That's not the type. That's not the type of pole we're going to get Electra on, I think.
Yeah. John DeConnie.
Yeah, I'm glad John made the joke because I was biting my tongue to the point of bleeding. But
don't be stealing John's gimmick. He's the inappropriate one out of all.
I think Zion takes this one.
Really? Okay. And I think I'm going to go Santos Escobar, John Smith. Why would she leave? She's going to cost Zion. The whole thing's a thing. I think this whole thing's a swerve. She's going to cost Zion the match.
Yeah, I'm actually up in the air on which side she's gonna align herself with, because I can see them doing both. I think she should be part of Legado, but I'm gonna say that she swerves Santos and goes with Zion.
Oh wow! All right, Brian Joy.
Zion.
Wow. All right, I'm on an island on this one. There was an attack week prior from Boa on Solo Sikoa after Solo Sikoa's victory over Santos Escobar. So they're going to get at it without Wendy Cho in his corner, I guess, Ryan Joy, correct?
Correct. Give the Uso the win here.
Uso. John Connie.
Yeah, I'm going with the little Oots.
All right, Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry, I did you already. It's John Smith.
This is classic John Smith trying to figure out how he can pick Boa here.
Yeah, no. I'm going with Boa. Yeah.
And both these guys, I do believe they were the two guys that beat Edjo Saneffi when Edjo Saneffi had those vignettes and he was supposed to come out like a house of fire, and both these guys stomped him out. And for our last segment, oh wait, no, it's not our last segment. John Smith, real quick, last night on Raw, because it stems into tonight. There was a match last night on Raw between AJ Styles. He addressed the crowd. That was in NXT, excuse me. So NXT, see, Styles jumping around. It's throwing my notes completely way off here. So last week on NXT, AJ Styles addressed the crowd. Says he regrets not starting in NXT. Says Grayson Waller doesn't respect NXT. Accuses Waller to come out, talk some trash. Styles says, let's go. Waller said next week. So that was booked. This is booked. But then we had a little incident last night on Raw between AJ Styles and his match with Austin Theory.
Yeah, once AJ got out of the ring to just recover from whatever was going on in the match, and all of a sudden he starts getting destroyed by Grayson Waller on the outside. And yeah, I don't know. That just happened out of nowhere. So it looks like it's going to be a little bit crazier than we thought it was going to be tonight.
All right, who's your pick?
I got to go with AJ Styles on this one. He's the best wrestler in the world. You don't have Grayson Waller beat him.
Ryan Joy.
Man, I hate to go against you, John, but I think Waller's going to win that. I think this is going to set up their WrestleMania match.
Grayson Waller, WrestleMania.
No way.
I like that. Bold prediction by Ryan Joy. We're going to hold you to that one.
By the way, John
Grayson Waller watch going for. We got a Grayson Waller watch going for Ryan Joy.
We're gonna have to start calling Grayson Waller Fandango if that's the case.
Well, you go ahead. By the way, John Smith, Solo Sikoa 7-0. You just picked him to have his first loss.
Yes.
John the Connie, we had to pick this match last week because we didn't know what was going on. I'm going to stay with my theory that this is AJ Styles' disqualification. There's no reason for any of these guys to take a pinfall or eat a submission here. Grayson Waller is going to get frustrated. He can't get the job done. Grab a chair and hit him with it or something like that. Who do you got, John the Connie?
I could see that happening, but I'll say, like I said last week, there's only so far I can go with this NXT 2.0 guys always getting put over. So I could see them having a really good match here, AJ beating him and then kind of patting him on the back at the end of the match and saying, almost, son, you're getting there. Keep at it. You'll be good someday, blah, blah, blah. Give me AJ Styles here.
All right. With that, we are going to bring in our NXT UK correspondent, Gary Mehaffy. Gary, top of the evening to you, Malati.
Evening, gentlemen.
Real quick, glad to have you on. I hope you had a happy birthday as well last week. But Ryan Joy, he's been asking you a question. Ryan, I'm going to let you ask it one last time because Gary's got an answer for you.
Gary, where the F is Walter?
For all of you people wanting to know, he'll be on NXT UK this week.
We'll get to that. Yep.
Yeah, we'll get there. He's finally appeared. It looks as if he's going to reappear at some point in the States, either main roster or NXT. Hopefully, main roster.
Now this is.
And then last week.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Go for it.
This is going to be Walter putting over the guy on the way out the door, right?
I think
so. Walter, because he teamed up with Eichner and Martel last week, Gary, against Riddle and MSK. What do you think about that?
I thought it was great, and actually, I was hoping to see what it was called because there was so much anticipation for Riddle and Walter actually facing off, and when they eventually did, the crowd was loving it. The match itself, all six guys are great. I do have to say, the MSK stereo dives through the ropes and Riddle's twisting whatever he did on Walter to the outside, I thought was great. The timing of it, that was all just superb. I was surprised, to be honest, that Riddle won the match, but especially because it looks like he's not staying about in NXT at the minute. But absolutely superb match. It was a great way to showcase Walter again, I think, and remind everybody what he does.
Yeah, Riddle got the RKO on Marcel Bartel. So that will do it for NXT's New Year's Evil. Let's go to the NXT UK standings. And Gary nailed it. He's got a 1-point lead, trying to get his lead back on me. I'm ahead of him by 1 point. Brian, a couple points behind that. Then Travis, John, and John. I guess it's just not your season this year for NXT, which is fine. But we'll go into the perfect pay-per-view bonus. This is Gary now notched his third of the season, tying Ryan all behind me, John, and John with 4 each. And then our overall standings, Ryan still has a commanding lead, a little less than 100 points. Or is that over 100 points? That's over 100 points, right? Over 100-point lead coming up. We got some big points coming up with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So Ryan's got a nice little head start going into that. All right, gentlemen, we will bid you adieu for the time being, with the exception of one, Mr. Gary Mehaffy, because we have an NXT UK Women's Championship match that we've been looking forward to for quite some time now, Gar. Your thoughts on Meiko Satomura defending against Blair Davenport?
I was shocked. I mean, I loved the match. I mean, there was so much. There were throwbacks to old school, like there was a surfboard near the start, which the world of sport and original UK wrestling scene in me was going, yes. Again, there's great stuff and lots of great counters to things. But I was surprised that I figured the end would be Blair hits the V trigger and takes the belt and stands tall. And it didn't. There was obviously a bit of a roll up and a counter to a roll up. And then Meiko took the pin. Now, there were plenty of V triggers after the bell because we're continuing on with it. But I was surprised at the minute that they kept the belt on her, to be fair.
Yeah, and then she set it up. She attacked her post-match.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run it back, but yeah, it was a Raw roll-up too. So they chalk one up for NXT UK on this one, Gary. You guys are just as guilty as everybody else is. But yeah, there was no definitive out. This isn't finished. They're gonna run it back. Maybe Amelia McKenzie will be back from her injury or whatever. Maybe she'll start getting involved in it. Maybe have a triple threat or something. So to be continued with that. There was a video package of Ilya Dragunov, the UK champion, ironically enough, doing a Rocky Balboa montage. That didn't look right. A Russian doing a Rocky Balboa montage. That didn't look right. Talking about his family, his wife, and his son, who apparently is so ugly they couldn't show his face. But Dragunov thinks he's perfect, so who am I to judge? Noam Dar was watching the video of A-Kid beating Nathan Frazier. Shah had some odds on the board for the Heritage Cup Championship match. Noam told Shah to pick what he wants. Shah picked Noam Dar in the 4th round. So that's what it's going to be, right? They're rigging the betting.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, what I would imagine, I'm not saying we'll have another Raw roll-up counter, but I would imagine as it comes to that round, and Shah's like, here we go, that just as Noam goes to take it, when they eventually have the match, Fraser will reverse it and he'll win it in the 4th round type of thing, and he'll have bet on himself or whatever. So I imagine it'll go.
Yeah, whatever A-Kid's going to bet on. Yeah, because it's A-Kid's got the shot, right? Nathan Fraser will get in a second.
Or sorry, A-Kid, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Gary, normally, you know me with Zaya Brookside. She hasn't been winning at all lately, and she finally got a win, and I'm so excited, and I'm sorry it has to come at your expense. So I'll just keep the celebration to a dull roar. But how did you think the match went with Mila?
And the first winner of the Gary 2022 award for the yes goes to Mila Great. No, it's like, they described it on the NXT UK Twitter feed as a big win for Zaya Brookside. I was just, obviously, I mean, I was hoping that they could do something and Zaya might get herself disqualified and then maybe Mila could eke out a DQ win or something like that. But obviously they're behind Zaya and we know what's going on. But Mila got a few good moves in. She has a few other things she hasn't shown. But say it was a showcase for Zaya and a chance to get her new personality over. So
yeah, exactly. So she hasn't won in forever. So I mean, I think Ryan will probably have the numbers on that.
Yeah.
But it just seems like I can't remember the last time she won a match. Amal did a video package of her story that gained some attention, gave her a face turn actually. And now she has Ginny and Stevie Turner mocking her. So look for maybe Amal versus Stevie Turner this week.
Yeah.
We do have 2 matches to pick. The first one, I guess, in that tag team, I guess it's a tournament. It's not brackets. They just have 4 teams, and the winners face each other. The winner of that gets a tag team championship match. Surprise from us, Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter. They got a job. They got it done against Symbiosis after a cutter from an electric chair position, double team on Primate. So Smith and Carter, they will fight the winners of next week's matchup between Bomber Dave Mastiff, and Jack Stars against De Familia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going De Familia. I mean, I figure that De Familia will win the whole thing. But again, they've done a good job in the last couple of weeks, even in some vignettes of building up Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff. So you kind of go, yeah, De Familia should win. But actually, will they? But I think in this case, they will win, and then you'll have De Familia against Smith and Carter. So
yeah, it seems so you get the face and the heels. I think that's there we go. That's right. When February, goddamn, that's when she made Nina Samuels her servant for that time being. She made her clean all this stuff. That was her last win. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yes, I consider that to be a big win. Because that's big. So yeah, I'm gonna go with De Familia as well, just because of the heel face ratio. Like I said, them going on. It's we kind of wanted to see Bomber and Jack do it, but now it's pretty tough for unless they give it to Bomber and Jack, and Ashton and Oliver kind of blow up during the match. Probably might be next week.
Yeah, we could go.
But then there's Walter. One final chapter before staying put in NXT 2.0. Against Nathan Frazier. Walter was not impressed with Frazier. If I can quote Walter from his promo, Nathan has, quote, taken the piss out of the sport. I don't speak Austrian. I don't know what that means. I didn't realize the sport had piss in it, but who am I? I'm not a backstage guy. But Gar, Ryan kind of alluded to it. Normally when you're on your way out, you put the guy over. But Nathan Frazier, I kind of question that if that's the case.
I think it's going to happen.
You think so? All right.
Right. We have talked before saying about that they surely some point they'll pull the trigger with Nathan Frazier. Surely some point he'll get a win. Surely some point he'll get a win. And I think that in this case, I don't see, as much as Walter's better, I don't see what the upside is in Walter winning. I genuinely don't. And other than saying, yeah, you're great, thanks very much, see you later. But so I think they'll have some sort of big, hard-hitting match, and when push comes to shove, whatever happens, Nathan Frazier will take the win, and Walter will do the job on his way out. So,
is it going to be straight up? Is there going to be interference? Like, I don't understand how Nathan Frazier.
I've been trying to run that through in my head, and I've been thinking that if they do interference, you kind of go, well, if there's interference, that would lead to Walter having to have a match with whoever interferes. So I don't know, but I honestly, I could see that somehow Nathan just takes it relatively straight, just to kind of build him up and go, oh my goodness, he's beaten Walter, and all of a sudden that immediately moves him up into the top bracket. So. But
I feel like that takes away from Dragunov's title reign here. I got to go Walter on this one, because if somebody else beats Walter, then what did Dragunov do? I think you got to do that. And, I'm all for kickstarting Nathan Frazier. I've been on that train it has to be since the last time Zaya Brookside won a match, I've been on that train. And it's just, no, I don't think you can do this. Ugh. But Gary, I appreciate you staying up with us late night as always. We appreciate your time. Glad you had a happy birthday, and we will see you next week talking about Walter's final match.
Yeah, I'll see you then after Walter's loss. See you then.
Yeah. And so we'll bring back in John Smith, bring back in John DeConnie. Gentlemen, we hope you have time. Oh, John, you got to get the hat on, pal. There you go.
You just got me right in time. I was in the art closet.
Oh, I thought it smelled. Yeah, it does smell like the art teacher's closet. Last Friday on SmackDown, let me just get everything set up here. Boom, there we go. Roman Reigns started us in the ring in an in-ring promo. Says he never wants to see Brock Lesnar or Paul Heyman ever again. So cue Brock Lesnar's music. After Lesnar introduced himself, I thought that was a pretty good impersonation of Paul Heyman. Brock proposed the champion versus championship match. Reigns says no because it wasn't his idea. And then they got into this weird thing with Heyman. Lesnar kept on telling Heyman to shut up, and then Roman got defensive and actually super punched Lesnar. So, like, are we putting Heyman on a forklift or on a pole here? Like, this is getting a little weird with those two and Heyman. Things seemed okay last night between the two on Raw, but I don't know.
I want to see the two of them with every title, every tag championship. They need to be forced to work together and just have every belt.
There we go. So Brian George, just real quick, just putting a bow on our Nxt Uk. I've been on the Nathan Frazier train in January. That was a year ago on Friday. Had his first match. I spied a Jersey guy, and Ben Carter, who's now using his real name, Nathan Frazier. You know, he had to hide it from his parents, if I remember correctly, that story. Where are we going? So WWE told management, WWE management told Postman Pierce that he has to name an opponent for Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble by the end of the night. And at the end of the night, here comes Seth Rollins out of nowhere. Seth Rollins started laughing, and I'm guessing maybe he just watched the Happy Talk segment. I don't know why he would be laughing, but did you hear him knock on the door? He was playing the Shield on the door knock. I don't know if you caught that. They kind of referenced it a little bit last night on Raw. So that's potentially what could possibly happen. I'm sure we'll find out in the next segment on Raw if it does. But John the Connie, we main evented the show with a street fight once again between the Usos and the New Day.
Yeah, so the New Day was getting the best of this little back and forth when the titles weren't on the line. And then they failed to take the titles at day one. And as we saw the Usos say backstage a little earlier in the show, this was going to be the end of the rivalry. They were going to put the nail in the coffin for good. And we got another 18-minute banger out of these guys. And it wound up with, once again, the Usos borrowing 3D, this time putting Kofi through a table with it, so making it really look like a tip of the cap to the Dudley Boys.
Yep.
And the 1, 2, 3, the Usos retain, and that the whole thing's over. Usos and the New Day, they're done. It's over. We won't see them again for at least a month.
As I say, at least they'll book it for WrestleMania. They'll do something. And I don't want to complain about it. And I've been seeing complaints. Oh, they're these two again. But how do you complain about the matches they're putting on? I don't get it. And then also going back to the 3D thing, Devon Dudley is apparently survived all of these cuts and everything. Like, he still works for WWE and he's okay with it. He encouraged it, I think. And I think Bubba's fine with it too. Bubba said good job or whatever. Like there, so the Dudleys are completely okay. And with the rename of the 1D. And I can't remember what it stands for, but it's also, the day one-ish also referenced.
Does that mean they only have 1D between the two of them?
That's maybe. Didn't think about that, actually. That's kind of funny.
That's the first thing I thought of.
We need to change the name again. People make fun of us for only having 1D.
You guys share a D. You're so identical.
Charlotte Flair in-ring promo. She has a New Year's resolution is to make history. She mentioned the Royal Rumble and the historical nature of it, so they rattled off the women that will participate, 18 in all, including the Knockouts Women's Champion, Mickie James, and they gave her credit and announcing her as the Impact Knockouts Champion. So that was, that kind of put everybody in an uproar on Friday night. I'll get to the list in a second because then Charlotte Flair then announced that she will also participate, becoming the first ever champion to win the Royal Rumble, which is incorrect as Hulk Hogan did it in 1990, and be able to select her own opponent to main event WrestleMania with. Naomi came out and bitch slapped Charlotte, so they wrestled. Charlotte got the win after Sonya Deville restarted the match a couple times. Charlotte got the win with natural selection. But here is the list of competitors that were announced for the Women's Royal Rumble. I'll leave this up there for everybody to look at. I'm sure everybody knows by now. But John Smith, your thoughts on, I guess, a relationship between WWE and Impact Wrestling?
My first thought was what happened to all the controversy over the garbage bag full of belongings.
Well, yeah, they fired the guy that did that.
Yeah.
And then they were blaming Mickie James for getting a guy fired. Yeah, it turned into a mess after a while.
No, I just think it's funny that you can just talk smack about a company and then be so willing to go right back to them, you know. Money talks, right?
Yeah, that's it. John DeConnie, just with let's just put Mickie James and her account, whatever her account. I don't remember if she had talked bad about him. I know she was upset by the garbage bag thing, and that got resolved. But apparently that was getting done to all the superstars. That wasn't a personal attack on her. That's just how they did things, and it was wrong.
And what do you expect? Like luxury suitcases for these people? Like, what do you want?
Samsonite, John. She was way off. They were way off.
Money in the bank cases.
Money in the bank case. There you go. Rattle up the nice money in the bank case. But of all of the companies that have probably cracked the most jokes and more so as a reason, Stanford Penitentiary. They killed the eye for an eye match. You know, Impact takes as many shots at WWE as they possibly can. Dreamer's guilty. And the picture of all the releases flipping off the like, I mean, I'm shocked. I guess, you know, if WWE can take a joke or a rib, as they would say in the business, and then good for them. John DeConnie.
Yeah, I can't believe that this is happening. You know, like I thought maybe they were just going to use it to get a little, you know, heat from the announcement, and then she would drop the title, and okay, she would go and spend a little time in the WWE, Mickie James, and then let her go back to doing what she does in NWA and whatnot. But this is, once again, I got to give the WWE credit. Usually by this time, we kind of have an idea what's going to happen in the Royal Rumble. And by shortly after the Royal Rumble, we have an idea of what's going to happen for Mania. I have no clue what the hell WWE is doing this year. Like, I can't even give you an educated guess because I have no idea which direction they're going with which titles. Are there going to be unifications? Who's going to win the Rumble? I'm strapped in. I'm buckled in, and I'm ready for the ride. I'm very excited for the fact that I have no clue what is happening.
Yeah, James Wheeler's just excited as well, and yeah, this is great. I'm enjoying this.
Hey, at least we know what the bathroom break match is going to be with Miz and Edge and Beth Phoenix and Maurice. So.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. Rick Boogs defeated Sami Zayn with a beautiful roll-up. Chalk went up for Rick Boogs in SmackDown. Post-match attack by Johnny Knoxville, sending Sami to the top rope, proving that Johnny Knoxville, proving to Sami Zayn that he belongs in the Royal Rumble match. Sheamus also entering the Royal Rumble, but he's hoping to put a smile on Ridge Holland's face after Ridge got his nose broke at day one. That looked pretty vicious too. John Smith, happy talk with with Happy Corbin, welcomed in Drew McIntyre to his show. Want to take it from there?
But it wasn't. I thought he was injured. Oh, and he is, because we get Madcap Moss in a kilt and a neck brace and suspenders still. He's still got to wear the suspenders. He's, you know, a nice limp foam sword that is, you know, a third of the size of what's the sword's name? Wilma or something? Angela.
Oh, imagine if Tony D'Angelo needs to get a hold of that sword. Oh my God, Angelo! I'm sorry.
That was my mother's name, Angela D'Angelo.
Angela, exactly that too. I was doing more. Who's the boss? Maybe you get a shield named Mona.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
And his new valet, Samantha.
Yeah, but it's Samantha. Okay. Anyway, so happy. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we got a couple minutes of hilarity on Happy Talk, and then the scheduled match between the Viking Raiders and Corbin and Moss goes down, and it doesn't take very long for Corbin and Moss to get the victory through heel tactics, of course. You know, with Corbin pulling one of them off the apron and whatever. But you know, I think we got something good with these two, with Moss, especially Moss.
And whatever finishing move that Moss did, they named it the punchline. I think that is absolutely amazing. He hit him with the punchline. Of course, he's a comedian. Of course, they hit him with the punchline. Absolutely perfect. I really enjoyed that. So you can see why I'm assuming that just Seth Rollins at the end of SmackDown just watched Happy Talk and just, they're friends, Seth and Roman, right? They're Shield brothers, right? Tuning in about last night with Monday Night Raw, John Smith, as I get all the graphics and everything all situated here, I hear you like to make a complaint to Hulu?
Oh yeah, they shorten everything when you watch it the next day, and they cut out the tag team championship title change. I had no clue until we got backstage for this show that there was a title change last night.
Sean DeConnie, you want to clue him in?
Yeah, this is talk about just taking a dump on these belts. So we have the Alpha Academy and we have RK Bro. We have this whole storyline where it's very difficult to RKO Otis, even though Randy did get that on him last week. Blah blah blah. We have this whole thing where Randy beforehand, back in gorilla position, takes a marker and writes on Riddle's hands, "Tag in Randy," in case he forgets what he's doing in the middle of the match, because that's why they lost their last match, because Riddle forgot to tag in Randy. We get to the ring for a tag title match. It's jerking the curtain on a Raw, and we get Randy in the ring, so they're not playing in the Riddle forgot to tag him in storyline. Otis is not even in the ring at the time that this whole last schmeal starts, so we're not playing on the can't RKO him storyline. Randy doesn't realize Otis makes a blind tag. Randy goes after Chad. Chad avoids him. Randy turns right around into Otis, who has now jumped in the ring. Randy gets picked up. Randy gets put down with a world's strongest slam and a 1-2-3, and the Alpha Academy are your new Raw Tag Team Champions at about 8:12 last night.
Yeah, and the fun thing is, and we were talking about it in pre-production. I guess you guys were talking about it, maybe like a rumor or whatever. I'll confirm it because I saw it on Instagram. Chad Gable and Otis. Chad Gable with a very heartfelt a post. They've been best friends for like 10, 11 years now, training together for the Olympics. They've known each other for a very long time. I thought this was just like, we got nothing to do with him, nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
His partner's injured, his partner got fired. Let's just put them together. It's. But no, that was actually a very legit, serious, genuine moment with those two last night. So I applaud that. Otis's first tag team championship. So good for him. Gable's gotten two before. He got one with Rude and one obviously with Jason Jordan, who I was alluding to. He's the one that got injured. That's why they had to split up. Kurt Angle's son. Remember Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle's son? Show started with an in-ring promo with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, interrupted by Bobby Lashley telling Brock respectfully that Brock has been ducking Bobby for over 20 years, in which Brock countered respectfully that it's Bobby's fault they haven't crossed paths yet because Bobby wasn't able to beat Brock at the top. Touche. Thought it was nice. The conversation took place with all due respect, as I mentioned. Lashley eventually was attacked by Shelton and Cedric, whom Bobby told in the back that the Hurt Business was still officially done after Sheldon and Cedric thought they were back together again. So maybe another handicap ass whooping by Lashley on Cedric and Shelton coming in the future. Then we fast forward later in the night, an in-ring promo with Seth frickin' Rollins. Confirmed the speculation that he was laughing on SmackDown, not because he watched Happy Talk, that's still to be determined, no one knows, but that he will indeed challenge Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. So we have a little interpromotional warfare here, throws a wrench in a lot of stuff that we will discuss later on. At least in my head, it throws a wrench in a lot of stuff. We are in the talks. We will have a Royal Rumble special. Will be on Friday, January 28th. It's got to confirm with Joseph Kennedy Garzenka a time, and we'll get a graphic, and we're ready to promote that. But then here comes Big E saying he's going to win the Rumble, and then when he wins it, he's going to do what he wanted to do at Day 1 originally, and that's just beat Seth Rollins one-on-one for the title. Rollins laughed, so E said, "Let's test out this theory now." And Seth Rollins got the win. I guess he has to have the win, right? Get the push going into a big championship match at the Rumble. I think that takes over Roman Reigns. I think that takes precedent over Big E getting a momentum going into the Rumble. John Smith, the show main evented again with the women in the number one contenders triple threat match.
Yeah, we get Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan versus Doudrop, who finally gets a shot at something, right? So we have Becky Lynch on commentary. Then we get Becky Lynch breaking up a Bianca Belair pinfall victory, or so it would seem. So then the two of them are going at it, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, Doudrop hits the bonsai drop on Liv Morgan for the 1, 2, 3. And she didn't even hold the ropes like Yoko used to do to ease the pain. She just squashed her with all probably 350 pounds or whatever she weighs. It was a nice victory for Doudrop, and she finally gets a shot at the title.
There you go, bonsai drop. I haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in so long.
The bonsai Doudrop.
The bonsai Doudrop. There we go. It writes itself. Very good. I didn't even think of that. Nice, John Smith. The Cutting Edge. Excuse me. Edge has a talk show. The Cutting Edge. With special guest Beth Phoenix. Gee, I wonder how she got on that show. Probably still host. Whore. Show's interrupted by Miz and Maurice after some slander was spoken about them. And the fun part is I wrote that as Miz was talking. Miz actually used the word slander. So me and him like it. Maurice playing off that she's scared of Beth Phoenix, but we all know that she's not. Acting at its finest by the It Couple. Maurice will be pinning Beth Phoenix at the Royal Rumble. You heard it here first. Alexa Bliss is in therapy. Not off to a great start on her road to recovery. Oh, wow. Can you hear that?
Is that your Alexa talking?
My Alexa just went off. Alexa, stop. That's funny. I'm up in my kitchen daily wrestling news show stadium. I forgot I have an Alexa right there. That's funny. In-ring interview with Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH, and Rhea broke up with Nikki on national television. She actually even threw out the "hope we can still be friends" line. And that had to sting, and it did, because Nikki eventually attacked Rhea. So
are we going to get insane Nikki Cross?
I hope so.
Especially now that Karrion Cross isn't around anymore, they could give her name back.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason they changed her name in the first place.
Well, no, we're running into a problem because Nikki Bella's coming back, so her name's probably just going to be ASH going forward.
ASH hole.
Yeah. The Dirty Dogs and Apollo Crews, they defeated the Street Profits and Damian Priest after a zigzag from Ziggler and Dawkins John DeConnie. Is this 2 weeks in a row, or like 2 out of the last 3 weeks? We're getting zigzag pinfalls here. Loving it.
I know, it's crazy. Worst finisher.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It is my contention that is the worst finisher in WWE.
I know, 2 weeks in a row. He's bringing it back. John Smith, we're bringing back the zigzag. Get excited. There was a 24/7 championship bleep show, as there always is on Raw. Cheesesteaks were thrown because it was in Philadelphia. It was a mess. Dana and Reggie were running away. Reggie accidentally ran into Omos in the hallway, which didn't sit well with the big man. So Omos told Reggie to watch him tonight because next week he's going to do worse. And to finish Omos' sentence and to Reggie. So we actually have Reggie and Omos next week. Credit the minutethebelltime.com for a very accurate description of the graphics for this match.
It's like Krang and Body of Krang.
I gotta get the graphic. It switched screens by accident. John DeConnie, John Smith, excuse me. What is the over/under on the time limit on this one?
I'll give it 2 minutes, only because they're gonna have Reggie display some great athleticism and acrobatics before he gets thrown through the ceiling.
James Wheeler, we already saw the death of one championship. It might be another one coming for him, and he's upset that Tamina got a cheesesteak thrown at her birthday. That's never a good thing when you get cheesesteaks thrown at you on your birthday. Man, I'm just all over the place with the thing. John DeConnie, did you make what's the over/under? What did John Smith say? I'm just getting screwed up here.
He said it at about 2 minutes. I'll take it just to the overside of that because it took him 138 to put down someone's 12-year-old son who happened to get loose in the Wells Fargo Center last night. So I think he might wind up playing with his food next week a little bit and beat Reggie up a little bit more than usual.
I think this is going to be fun. This match all just depends on how I want to see Reggie just avoid him for like 3 minutes. Like, I just jump through him. I want to see maybe he can jump over Omos. That'd be pretty fun. All those playground sketches. This is where it's going to come into play. Reggie's got to play keep away. And Omos, he's athletic and everything. You rarely even seen him anything, speed-wise. So I don't know if the big man's going to be able to catch him. And when he does, that's when the fun starts. But so we showed the women's Royal Rumble match entries earlier. We'll do the men's now real quick. As they said, they announced last weekend, Sheamus, the Mysterio's already on there. Sheamus announced his entry. AJ Styles in it as well. Big E and the United States champion. MVP's United States champion, Damian Priest. So that way we got one more comment chiming in. Okay. Playing Forbidden Door surprise in the men's Royal Rumble match. Who do you think it is, John the Con?
Sex Ferguson.
Well, that would be the greatest of all possibilities. I don't know that we'll see necessarily anyone come through the Forbidden Door. Maybe send the W. Morrissey back. A little, couple of minutes there with Big Cass.
And just have the most awkward of the backstage segments with Carmella. That'd be hysterical, John Smith.
Hell, I'd say do the other champ. Give me some Moose in that Royal Rumble. Get him down to the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know the obvious pick for me is Rohit Raju, but I just don't.
Johnny Swinger.
Yes, and Swinger would be the only acceptable answer. That's it. It's just they have all this build up, this big forbidden door, and the Swingman is the first one to go through it. Now, going the other way, I think I mentioned on minutestobelltime.com. Actually, speaking of that, we'll bring in Ryan Joy real quick. Have him a part of the conversation as well. And then we keep Ryan out of it real quick. Somebody proposed the match of Josh Alexander versus Cesaro, and I was like, ooh, that's fun. Somebody else put up probably in this. If you want to start it off right and send somebody over to Impact real quick, it's R-Truth. He walks in. This ain't WWE. My bad, and then walks out, and that's it. Like, that's all we get is just R-Truth for 5 seconds showing up on the wrong show, and I think that would be absolutely incredible. Ryan Joy, any predictions from your end on if the door's open, if it swings both ways?
I really don't think anybody's going to come through the Forbidden Door into the Rumble. And if they do, I think it's going to be somebody that we've already seen in WWE before. So I know John was kidding with Sex Ferguson, but the Good Brothers, I think, are good possibilities if somebody were to come through.
Heath Slater.
Yeah, another one.
He already came back once when he didn't have to during his 90-day no-compete just to put over Drew. He didn't have to do that. Like, I'm sure. Out of all of them, I'm going to make the dumb assumption that Heath Slater is the one on the best terms with WWE. Out of all of them, don't think
Rhino, anybody.
Oh yeah, Rhino would go back too. Yeah, Oh my God, the both of them. Yeah. There's your tag team championship. Impact Wrestling's Heath and Rhino get out the saltines and cheese whiz against the Usos. That'd be absolutely great. So we're gonna turn off the WWE button. We're going to turn on the AEW button. And Ryan is our senior AEW correspondent. We haven't seen you in a while, and we haven't talked about any of the stuff in a while. But my question for you is, were you sweating when you saw that Hangman Adam Page, and Bryan Danielson was kicking off the show again? Did you be like, crap, buckle up, we're going 60 again?
Actually, my notes here said, my note, I can answer your question right away just by reading my notes. There didn't seem to be any chance that this match would go a full 60 minutes. And it didn't. I know what you're saying. It starts the show. It almost had to because of the precedent that they set with the last one, that they needed to say, okay, well, this is going to have all the time in the world to finish. They needed to put it on first. Although they did actually have a 60-minute time limit, then judge's decision afterwards. So Didn't get to the judges. The judges were Jerry Lynn, Mark Henry, and the Big Show, Mr. No More BS, Paul White.
There you go.
Be correct about the gimmicks here, I guess. It didn't get there, which is good because those guys were taking some really crappy notes. I saw them throughout the broadcast.
Were you comparing notes with them? Did you ask them? I know you.
Well, every once in a while they put the camera on them, and you could see one of them. I think it was Paul White had like a list, right? So he had written some things down, but it wasn't like little check marks or anything to see who was ahead or whatever. So I don't think they were doing a good job judging. So I'm glad it didn't go to them.
I would have been great if like Big Show was just drawing a pair of boobs or something.
Yeah.
Like he was drawing, like,
he might have been telling his life story or something. Hangman was aggressive throughout the match. He ended up hitting the buckshot lariat to get the pinfall victory in the end. But now I think the big question is who's next. I don't know
Brian, you read my mind. Read my mind because that was the exact question I was going to ask you. I don't know if you've been following me, you've been watching the shows. I actually have a graphic. I actually typed up the AEW roster, so I want you to take a look at the roster. Let me know who you think the challenger is going to be for Hangman Adam Page.
If you were to ask me, I can't tell because I can't quite see if this person's even listed there. You might be missing him.
I doubt it. I got everybody. I doubt
it. I really thought it was going to be MJF, but this MJF and Punk thing seems to be like it's going to go on for a while. Like we're not there yet. So I think they're going to have to get another opponent for Hangman. And my guess is Adam Cole.
It's a good guess. I like that. There you go. But John Connie, I guess it kind of made sense, and it actually helped our cause having the championship match up first because that set the table perfectly for our prediction of new tag team champions to send everybody home happy.
Yes, indeed. We had our main event is Jurassic Express and the Lucha Bros. And the match went less than 15 minutes, which for AEW is relatively short. But, you got everything you wanted to see, and unfortunately you got a couple of things you didn't want to see. They were all over the place, inside the ring and out. You had a very ugly table spot that got Rey Fenix injured, but luckily it was just an arm dislocation, not a break in 37 places like it appeared to be on television. Yeah. But in the end, we had Penta in the ring with Jungle Boy. Penta went for some sort of pump handle maneuver, which Jungle Boy countered into the Cazadora and flipped under for a Raw roll-up and a 1-2-3 and a new set of AEW Tag Team Champions. At the end, Christian would come in to celebrate with his buddies there. I didn't see Marco stunt. I don't know if the poor fella's getting pushed to the side or not, but
I know this answer.
Okay.
Continue, but I know where Marco's stunt is.
And then afterwards, we had shots into the crowd. For some reason, they kept putting the camera on Jericho, who was sitting alone. We saw Santana and Ortiz somewhere up in the building. We saw Malachi Black sitting alone, but I think we know that he's got a possible tag team partner, perhaps ready to walk through the door. And then up at the top of the stage, we got Private Party 2.0, Red Dragon, the Acclaimed, FTR, and the Gun Club. They all came out to kind of just line the top of the stage and serve notice to the new tag team champions of what's next. And there are lots and lots of possibilities.
Yeah, and I think it's obviously a knee-jerk reaction after the New Day and the Usos match at day one. They're like, hey, we have the tag team division too. I guess they have to take notes, right, John Smith?
Yeah, that's what John said.
Yeah. Real quick, John DeConnie, message from my buddy Matt Jagguzak, who commented on my Facebook page. John DeConnie is the kind of guy who thinks Arn Anderson could beat Rhino in a tables match.
What did I do?
It's a great conversation because he was in the bathroom. We're making nachos. There you go. Jags a good guy. I don't think he's trying to make sense. I think that's the fun part of it.
Al, there's a comment from James Wheeler about hoping Ray Phoenix is doing fine. I guess in the end, it was just a separated elbow, which sounds really weird, but separated elbow, and I guess he'll be back in like a couple of weeks, even though that injury looked vicious, looked awful.
Yeah, John McConney mentioned that. James Wheeler said he was okay. And Marco Stunt, get this crap. He's been trying out for The Voice.
Yeah. And he's had
he's been off TV. They haven't been using him, and they're probably not going to renew his contract. So where the F is Marco Stunt? He's gone, and we'll hopefully see him on The Voice. I think that would absolutely be great to see somebody in the wrestling world representing in The Voice. I think that would be great. Matthew Jags, Jags is chiming back in. Great show, fellas. Thank you, Jags. Thank you for watching, buddy. Appreciate you. I love you. I'll see you in August at the Cornwall tournament. Ryan, the TBS Championship Tournament finals. They were last Wednesday as well. We've been waiting for this for a while now. They announced that tournament a while ago, and they wanted to wait till they got the TBS to do it. Very funny is their tagline. And then
they announced it in October. Actually,
yeah.
It was. I was there. It was in Philadelphia. So this match,
Philadelphia, as the men would call it.
Sure. Okay. Whatever.
I laughed at that. That was funny.
Mercedes Martinez. So this match came down to, it was Ruby Soho and Jade Cargill in this match for the finals. Mercedes Martinez, recently new AEW acquisition, aligned with Jade Cargill. She tried to stick her nose in, but Thunder Rosa wouldn't have any of that. So Thunder Rosa took care of Mercedes. This was a long match for Jade. This was between 11 and 12 minutes. And Jade wouldn't have been my choice necessarily from a wrestling perspective to win this championship, but she does have really good presence. She is definitely a force. And a jaded from the second rope is also something she has. And that's what it took to put away Ruby Soho. Your first TBS champion with a jaded off the second rope.
And she's gonna have this belt. John and I were talking last week, John the Con. This belt was made for her, specifically for her, to keep her out of the world title picture and just to dominate people. Like, she is never losing this belt. Like, I'm giving her over a year title run.
Yeah. But is it going to be like the TNT title where she has to defend it all the time?
I sure hope not. Not that would not bode well for my case or her. I don't think the more of her is better to say, right? Like, that's
occasionally once every 3 weeks or so she does a 3-minute squash on Dynamite. Yeah. But she should be on every dark elevation, getting better.
Malachi Black defeated Brian Pillman after Pillman slipped off the top rope attempting a springboard into a black mass. By the way, Ryan, Malachi Black, I know you haven't been on in a couple of weeks, and we did your awards show, and we did present your awards. I didn't know if you watched the segment, but you named Malachi Black your 2022 one to watch or whatever it was. I completely agree with you. Shout out to you. I don't know if you remember this or not. You did the same thing last year. You said the 2021 one to watch was Hangman Adam Page, and you called him winning the World Championship in the third quarter, which I believe it was. Yeah. So a huge shout out to you. That was a spot on prediction, and that is why we pay you the big bucks here at the Essential Wrestling Podcast and the Eastern Observer. You should get your own morning show.
It makes sense. I should spin off, start my own franchise.
That's it.
Come up with a really creative name that nobody else would ever think of. We would do it every day, right?
Going into next Wednesday night on Dynamite on TBS, very funny. Serena Deeb. Actually, no, I'm not doing that because we have to. Actually, I am doing that. Okay, I did the graphics backwards. Serena Deeb, she's still pissed off, and she's looking to hurt Hikaru Shida. So the one thing I love about AEW is they don't have repeat matches, Ryan Joy.
This will be the third time. I'll check. I think it's the third.
No, because I remember the joke. We had the rubber suit match because they were each at one. No, this is 4.
I don't know. I'm going to give this one to Serena Deeb.
I think John Smith, I think this is going to get violent, like weapon-wise, like a kendo or something. I think Deeb is so hell-bent right now on beating her that she's going to cheat with an object, and then she'll win match 4, tying the series at 2-2, have another rubber suit match with weapons involved. Hopefully Vaseline.
Yeah, I'm going with the Usos on this one. I mean, Serena Deeb.
John DeConnie, who do you got?
I like exactly the way you laid it out, Al. Give me Serena in this one, and Sheeta to take the best of 5 finale.
And you know what? It's fine that they wrestled 5 times. You can crack all the jokes you want. I think this is great storytelling. I think this is a great feud, and I want to see it end in violence. I think this is absolutely a great job, and these two are shining in it. So shout out to those two.
Right. This is the 4th match. You're right. Because they
all right. I guess this whole thing with Team Taz and Lio Rush and Dante Martin, it's spilling over to this. We got Dante Martin against Powerhouse Hobbs, John Connie.
Jeez. How can I make a case for Dante Martin beating Powerhouse Hobbs? I don't think I can. Give me Hobbs in this.
Yeah, I can't make a case for Dante. I can because he made it to the finals of the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. John Smith. He's a little bit of I wouldn't call it a push, but a shove in the right direction. Is that the right way to phrase it?
Yeah, I'm going to go raw roll up for Dante Martin.
Very nice. Ryan Joy.
I'm going to go Dante Martin on this as well because I think he's the one that they're pushing more so than Hobbs. But I'm expecting a really cool spot when Dante Martin goes for the nosedive and Powerhouse Hobbs catches him. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I like that. The shove in the right direction for Dante Martin. It seems like he's shining. I changed my pick on that. I'm sorry, John McClellan. Sean Dean defeated MJF via disqualification after CM Punk came down at the very beginning. One thing I love about AEW, there's no disqualifications.
Third one.
Yeah, there's one on the first night, right? Very funny. CM Punk came down at the very beginning. MJF ran away. Then Punk hit the GTS on Sean Dean, causing the disqualification. I think that was actually really funny, though. If you're going to do DQ, do it this way. That was funny. Punk will continue to do this until MJF gets in the ring with him. Words are exchanged. Long story short, Punk gets Wardlow next week. Now, John DeConnie, we talked last week. I could have swore that both Punk and MJF said that they were done with each other and going to focus on the title. What the hell's Punk doing here?
Yeah, he rethought it and decided he wants to get his hands on MJF.
I guess, right? He's going to keep doing this. It's killing Punk. This is where you hurt Punk because he loves his record. He loves the fact that he never loses. And already to start the year, he's 0-1. So I think that's actually really funny and smart move.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out a way here where Punk gets the win because I don't think he's going to get pinned by Wardlow, but Wardlow, I'm guessing maybe taps to an Anaconda Vice. I'm thinking perhaps even MJF tries to help Wardlow out with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and winds up punching Wardlow instead of punching Punk. Wardlow falls and Punk rolls over and grabs an Anaconda Vice, so he doesn't have to get pinned. He doesn't actually have to tap. He's out cold, and Wardlow doesn't. He loses, but he doesn't really lose.
All right. Ryan Joy.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with the last thing that John said because I can't figure out, are we building to CM Punk versus MJF or are we building towards Wardlow versus MJF? Because that dissension is really, really ripe right now. So I like the idea of MJF doing something that essentially costs the match.
John Smith, Wardlow defeated Inaction last week after another. I think this is like the 4th or 5th week in a row. They just had Wardlow versus Inaction with the Symphony of Power Bombs.
Yeah, hopefully he could do that to Punk, but it's not going to happen. So I'm giving this one to Punk, definitely.
See, right there on the bottom, here we go. Antonio Zambrano for 1:25. Imagine 4 power bombs in 1:25. He just squashes Punk. It'd be absolutely hysterical. I have the same thing as the John DeConnie theory, except I do not have MJF and the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I have Shawn Spears accidentally hitting Wardlow with the chair. Because Spears is the one that's been with MJF hasn't been at ringside. Spears has been, and that's we'll do Wardlow versus Spears first. Maybe get Spears out, or during that's when MJF sides with Spears and turns on Wardlow. But this is going to be Spears, so I'll do that. And then what I got confused with before, the next match we have up on Dynamite is stemming from what happened at Battle of the Belts. So we'll talk about what happened at Battle of the Belts, then pick the match for Dynamite. But Sammy Guevara, it was supposed to be Sammy and Cody. Sammy getting his rematch. If I read it correctly, or a headline or something correctly, Cody got COVID. There we go. There's a tongue twister for you. So they inserted Dustin in, and then the winner is the interim TNT champion, which happened to be Sammy Guevara. John DeConnie, how do you win? Come on, roll up. Let's go.
It was a series of back and forth roll ups, and he finally was able to get Dustin's shoulders down on the fourth try.
Okay, so I understand the point of interim champions to a point. It's only happened, I think, once before in professional wrestling, and that was when Jordan Devlin got caught overseas with the COVID travel ban, and they wanted an NXT Cruiserweight champion stateside, and that's what they had a tournament for the round robin, which was absolutely great. We talked about it last week, that El Hijo de Fantasma into Santos Escobar won the tournament and defended it proudly. But if Cody is only out for X amount of time, why even bother, Ryan? I'm not trying to take a shot at this, but I'm having a hard time defending it.
No, it's weird. It's weird. I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly know what they had planned, but I think they had a plan, and so they were trying to rehab the plan, I guess. But that doesn't make sense. I think Sammy Guevara was going to beat Cody and take the title back, I assume. But I don't know why they chose to do it this way. I think maybe in the end they definitely want to have Sammy versus Cody, or they battle the belts, and they didn't want to not have the title match on the show. So
that's the only thing I'm thinking. Like you give Sammy, the fact that Sammy beat Dustin is irrelevant. You give him an interim championship is irrelevant because it's just going to circle back to Cody anyway. Either way, like he gets a match for the real TNT championship. And now the weird thing is John Smith. So I mean, they're not even going to, Ryan, what do you like to say? No date yet, right? For the Sammy versus Cody match, but we got Sammy's going to be going defending the interim championship against Danny Garcia.
What's interesting is Danny Garcia could win this match. Because then Sammy gets the title back, whatever. Make Danny Garcia. I doubt it's going to happen.
I know Everrise are your boys, and they'll be at ringside, or 2.0, excuse me. But like, are you going to give Danny Garcia?
No way.
No, all right, John DeConnie.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell their plan is, but I'm guessing Sammy takes this one in defense.
Yeah, well, it's got to circle around for whoever's holding this belt to
Cody.
Merge it with Cody's belt, right? Like, but why even? I don't get it. I guess I'm not surprised. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Professional wrestling, I probably shouldn't look too deep into it, right?
Yeah, they should have just given Sammy someone like Daniel Garcia and let it have been a number one contenders match. They wanted to have something special, and you could have had David Crockett at ringside with the TNT title, saying, "You're going to get a shot at this, boys." And therefore, you got the shiny belt is on the show, but you don't actually have to fight for it. It just didn't make.
Yeah, but
sense.
The belt would have COVID on it too, though, right?
Well, plus,
isn't that why? Isn't that why they had to change the NXT Women's title originally because of what Paige did to it?
Well, yeah, well, it wasn't COVID.
No, that definitely wasn't COVID. I'm sorry, Ryan Joy. Began with a C though. What?
I don't remember what I said.
Okay, I'm sorry. That joke was fresh in my head, and I needed to get it out there. Sorry. But we continue with Battle of the Belts and a match that was booked. Again, no date yet. I think when you were running that joke when I wasn't on screen, we finally got Britt Baker and Riho.
Yeah, Britt Baker was trying to get the lockjaw the entire match. Riho did a really good job of escaping that lockjaw. basically until Britt hit her with a second curb stomp in the match. Then Britt was able to put on the lockjaw to get the submission victory. It's kind of like all these things, though. It's like the who's next. If you're wondering who's next, it could be Jamie Hayter, because there's an awful lot of dissension that was playing out throughout the match between Jamie and Britt. And that's been kind of bubbling for a while. But Britt did put Riho behind her, so I guess that's done. And now, they have a big pay-per-view coming up in March 6th or something like that. So they have to build somebody up for Britt.
Mm-hmm. Also on the card, Ricky Starks defended the FTW title. That hasn't been defended in a while. Forgot that was an actual thing. Where the F is Brian Cage? Ricky Starks defeated Matt Sydal at the Rochambeau to retain the FTW title for Team Taz. And then our last stop on the AEW train is Friday night Rampage. I kind of wish we could have seen the Rochambeau on Rampage. That would have been a nice thing to say. But John DeConnie, the Wednesday prior on Dynamite, Chris Jericho did an in-ring promo, which was interrupted by 2.0, in which Jericho renamed them Squarehead and Pinhead, and then eventually got bum rushed by 2.0 and Garcia, which was thwarted by Santana Ortiz and Kingston, and that set up the six-man tag on Rampage.
Yes, indeed. And this one was no DQ, no rules, no holds barred, and no split screen interview even, because Garcia and 2.0 started talking, and Eddie and Santana and Ortiz just said, the hell with it, left their interview area, and a few seconds later showed up and started beating the hell out of Garcia and 2.0 over in their area, and we barely even got time. We barely even had the chance for someone to tell us it's time for the main event. Eventually, they would make their way out to the ring. This another one of those wonderful started in the commercial break matches. But we got about 12 and a half minutes of screen time here, and it ended with Santana and Ortiz in the ring with Parker, Jeff Parker, I think is his name. They hit a 3-shot combo where Parker ate a punt kick, an enziguri, and a discus lariat. Santana made the cover, and then it was a 1-2-3 for Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. But Garcia and 2.0 weren't done. They went back on the attack. They dropped Ortiz with a low blow. Kingston, who was already hobbled because he seems to blow out his knee in every match he has. They taped him to the top rope with some gaffer tape or whatever. And Jericho, who was on commentary, would leave the announce desk to come on down and make the save and run off Squarehead, Pinhead, and Red Death.
Oh boy, John Smith. Did you know Matt Lee has a new nickname now? He calls himself Big Magic.
I don't even know who Matt Lee is.
Martel, the loudmouth one on a
Matt Martel.
Oh, okay.
Big Magic. Big Magic.
Big Magic. Love it.
His name is right there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's down. Yeah, he's there. He's there. Well, keep that up, actually, Ryan. Keep that up, because I don't. If you can see on the bottom right corner, I had to actually add Jake Atlas to the roster. Adam Cole knows Kyle O'Reilly didn't mean to hit him the week prior. Wants to form a supergroup with the Bucks and Red Dragon. Just heard that Jake Atlas is now all elite, so he's going to get him a one-way ticket back to Orlando. Oh my God, that'd be fun at WWE. Who do you have with? Oh, I'm sorry, that match already happened. Jesus, I'm already messing up. Adam Cole defeated Jake Atlas with the leg lock. Post-match attack by Red Dragon, thwarted by Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. And then also going back to the prior feuds that we already talked about, Ruby Soho. She did a post-match interview after her loss to Jade Cargill for the TBS title, was interrupted and eventually attacked by Britt Baker. So maybe that's where we go next with Britt, because Ruby was hot on her tail. They actually had a tag team match on Rampage with Ruby, and Riho. So I got my wish with that tag team combination. Unfortunately, they didn't change the lyrics to the song for me, but I'll take it as a win. They defeated Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter when Riho sunk in a deep roll up on Jamie Hayter for the win. Also backstage on Rampage, Andrade wants to buy Darby Allin as an assistant from Sting. Gotcha. Okay. And then Ryan, to close out the show, we're gonna send Hook.
Hook, he gets another win over Aaron Solo this time. It's a short match, makes sense because it's only Hook's third match, but he used Red Rum to get the submission win. Looks like QT Marshall is up next for him in the Who's Next category. This was the highest rated segment of the show, minute by minute ratings. Hook's match was, so there we go.
If he was an Impact, he'd probably be world champion by now. This guy gives us a rating. Give him the belt. Give him the belt. Well, QT actually had a promo on Dynamite. Memory serves me correct. I guess he was the original trainer for Hook. So now I guess there's some backstory with that to go into Hook and I guess if you want to call it Hook's first ever feud with QT Marshall. Right? Is it still Marshall? To say it that way.
Marshall.
Okay, so that will bring us to the end of the show, and we will now, I guess, commence with probably going to be our most favorite segment of the show for the next 51 weeks, because we are now in here's the count of Raw roll-ups this past week, and Mandy Rose on Cora Jade, Jungle Boy on Penta, that was for the tag titles. If you look at this, Meiko Satomura, then Jonathan Gresham, and Sammy Guevara on the bottom, 5 of the 7 of these were championship matches, 2 title changes with Guevara, I guess, on a technicality because there was a vacant title for a interim championship. And Jungle Boy won the titles on a Raw roll-up. Mandy Rose, Meiko Satomura, Gresham, they all retained on theirs. They got Rick Boogs on Sami Zayn, Riho, as I just mentioned, on Jamie Hayter. So after 1 week of action, I guess the question is, did we prematurely call this the Raw roll-up? But it is early, so we're not going to jump to any conclusions yet. But I was shocked to say AEW. Raw didn't have any last night. Every show had at least one. I did notice that. Every show of the week that we cover, and that's including Dynamite, Rampage, and Battle of the Belts, they all each had one. But AEW is in the lead right now, and then the overall, here are the people that are taking advantage of it. They're the 8 right there, and then they're the 8 that have lost via it, the people who've suffered the most. Shayna Baszler off TV right now. She's gonna come in. She's gonna come in with a bat out of hell on this category. So I texted John DeConnie. I'm like, you know what? I saw in your notes. I missed Rampage, and then I saw in your notes. I missed something. I saw in your notes it was done by the Raw roll-up. So I actually went on the computer. I found the match just to watch. Like, I'm into this whole Raw roll-up competition between the 6 brands. So we'll see where it goes from there. Now let's get into our friends, our sponsors, our cohorts all across the Eastern Observer. Starting first, as always, with the Prime Time Rundown, powered by StreamYard, with Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca, now on 7 p.m. on Friday nights, as they take you through the world of sports right here on all the Eastern Observer platforms. For more information, please go to the EasternObserver.com. We actually finally got the out of the website name, so now it's just EasternObserver.com. With this, we have invaded the Primetime Rundown and are a part of a little Eastern Observer football survivor pool. And then last Saturday and Sunday was Week 18. Here are our final standings amongst us. And I forgot to drop Ryan Joy down because he has more in the last column. But we all have John DeConnie, as I said at the beginning of the show. He is our first ever Survivor Series Survivor Standings football champion. Ryan Joy, myself, and Travis chimed in with 13 wins. John Smith saving the Packers for the end, ended up backfiring. Tyler Adele called it, though. He actually picked the Detroit Lions to win that game. So Tyler chimes in with a gem late. Gary just said, screw it, I'm betting on the entire English Premier League, which is against the rules. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we have a tie at the top of everything overall individually with John DeConnie and Ian Schreier from the Primetime Rundown. But we got the 4-point win, the 4-game win over the Primetime Rundown. So, gentlemen, not only are we God's gifts to wrestling pick'ems, we know our football too. So that's where we'll be with that. As I said, you can tune in to last Friday's episode of the Primetime Rundown. At the beginning of the episode, too, you guys curtain jerk, if I remember correctly. You can see both John DeConnie and John Smith talk about football. We also have a new show, as I alluded to earlier, on the Eastern Observer, one near and dear to my icy heart. The Sunday Sauce debuted last Sunday afternoon, hosted by our very own Sheriff, Tyler Adele, along with his partner, Andrew Nucaria, as they bring you everything NHL and all of the league's happenings. Get saucy this Sunday afternoon with the Sunday Sauce right here on all of the Eastern Observer platforms. The Body Slam Brigade newsletter, over 5,000 subscribers received this weekly column. Ryan Joy, is that accurate? Do you have any more?
No, that's about right.
All right. Make sure you go to minutestobelltime.com to subscribe. The Body Slam Brigade by Ryan for you for free. The Black Cats NYC, their album Free Cake, still available on all of these Eastern Observer platforms. Not the Eastern Observer platforms. These are all your music platforms, excuse me. YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, anywhere you get your music. You can get the Black Cats NYC and their album Free Cake. Excuse me. As always, the Essential Wrestling Podcast is sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com, the internet leader in sports entertainment pick 'em pools. Join us in the Essential Wrestling Podcast, our public pool, to play against us or create a private pool with you and your friends. ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, she will like it too. Join us back here next week for episode 89. Our WrestleMania 5 episode, Mega Powers are going to explode. Right here on all of the Eastern Observer platforms. Search for us on YouTube. You'll see us on Facebook, on all of our platforms. My personal page, if you're friends with me personally, or ProWrestlingPick'em.com, Minutes to Bell Time, or the Eastern Observer. And I'd like to say hello to all of us who are, all of you guys who are listening to a replay on Odyssey. We are happy to be on your platform, as well as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. We have one more comment. Looks like chiming in at the buzzer. Let me see what we got here. Let me see who it is. Is it James? Oh, thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
You know, every time I see Odyssey, I think it says Audacity.
I know. And then Joey said it for the first time. Like, welcome Audacity. I'm like, no, Joe. But it is Odyssey. Yes, they have the audacity to call themselves Odyssey. Ryan, Joe, anything before we get out of here?
Yeah. One more match added to Impact Wrestling this week. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jake something. I will take the Speedball.
See, when the forbidden door was open for WWE, the only logical person to answer the door is ding dong, hello, Bailey. So I asked for Bailey to go to Impact, and they gave me Bailey, John DeConnie, but they gave me Speedball Mike Bailey instead.
And I could kick myself once that match was changed around and he was put in there. I said it out loud. I think I said it in one of the comment threads, and then I just forgot to go to PWP and change my pick. So if somehow I make up the 150 points between me and Ryan and I wind up losing by less than 3, that's going to be to blame at the end of the year.
Speedball. Gotta go to Speedball. John Smith, you can take it to Speedball Mike Bailey. I missed that. I didn't watch.
I'm just astonished that they can get away with having the name Speedball. Do you guys know what a Speedball is?
Yeah, it's the red ball in gym class. You used to throw at each other.
No, it's when you mix heroin and cocaine.
No, that can't be true. Scott Demore wouldn't announce that. They have guys smoking pot in a treehouse.
Well, there's a whole big story. I don't want to. Never mind.
All right. John Smith, anything from your end before we get out of here?
No. I'm just. I hate fantasy football. I hate it so much. I can't ever win. It's the worst.
Who are you?
I guess if you would have just let me have Madison in the semifinals.
But you had a better team than Danny. Why would I want to face you? But Jamar Chase got 100 freaking points.
Yeah. Okay. So can the site that we use, Fantrax. All right. Jamar Chase scored 99.99 points. Is that because they don't allow triple digits, or did he exactly score 99?
No, it was 99.9. It was
exactly. Wow.
Yeah, he was 0.1 away from getting 100 points.
Couldn't get one more yard, huh?
Well, all he needed was, like, at that point, like a half a yard. Because the bonuses are so crazy.
Yeah, who made that scoring system? John DeConnie, anything from your end on the way out?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you very much for everybody for joining us. Please make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on the Eastern Observer and all of our Facebook pages and Twitter. We try to have a lot of fun. We're glad you join us. Alexa Bliss, hope you do well with your therapy sessions. She was doing some damage in that guy's office. That was pretty nuts. She went off the hinge. We love you though. Larry, Steve, forever in our hearts. John McConney, you can take us home.
Thanks for joining us. And as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
I got nothing today. Anybody have anything to close out the show?
What a maneuver!